The best of 3 coming out for the LOOT.BET CS League Season 2. My name's Over, joined by Kieran. Of course, we will be taking over round 2 or second week of the second season. And of course, for tonight, we have a very special matchup. It's going to be SJ, previously known as Super Yummy, facing off x-kom. And, well, there's a bit of a specialty in one of the teams, and that is the fact that x-kom are playing without their IGL, or arguably one of their better players. So, yeah, Kieran, this is going to get pretty intense.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the more interesting games that we see in round 2. Like you say, x-kom lacking that firepower of Goofy, but yeah, we've got to say that important aspect of that in-game leader, Oscarish, is not going to be present. It already puts x-kom at quite the disadvantage coming into this game. But again, the two players they've picked up, both interesting in themselves, both 17 years of age. So it's either going to be a very, very wise pickup for this match, and they're going to be outstanding, like breeding some young talent in Poland, or it's going to go down the drain and look absolutely horrendous. But either way, MHL and Raver both standing in. Not going to lie, I've heard nothing of these two players in the time that I've been casting, but obviously they're 17, so I doubt they've had too much top flight experience. But yeah, with x-kom having already a disadvantage, this does set it up quite nicely for SJ. But again, x-kom, they do have some decent players.
Yes, they do. And well, this is still warm-up as far as I can tell. Sovik is still currently in the team for x-kom, who's the coach as far as I understand it, for x-kom. So don't worry, guys, this is not live, we're not there yet, this has not yet begun. You know, people in chat are gonna go crazy. Oh, how is this already 5-0 or 5-4, excuse me, how is this 10 rounds in? No worries, guys, we have not yet even begun. But as you said yourself, Kieran, we've got Mirage coming up, maybe a surprise, certainly a much-needed victory here for x-kom, if you ask me. They cannot joke around with this. They win this map, and there is potential to win this best of 3, but you know, not having the IGL is a very big blow to the overall, I guess you could say, flow of the team, as it will impact their response as well as their, I guess you could say, tactical decisions, I guess, in a way, as well as the fact Goofy's not there. You know, it's shaky. It looks shaky, and I mean, we have to consider the fact that previously, when they were fully squatted up, or more so when all 5 players were present, they were able to contend against Strict, which arguably are perhaps quite a little bit more skilled than both of these two teams. And they actually took a map, you know, so it's not impossible. And in the past, we've seen them play well, we've seen them perform well, you know, taking each other's assistance to the next level and just trying to work off of that. But I mean, I don't know. This is a little bit concerning, and I hope to see at least a good game. But certainly, I think Mirage has to go their way, and then Train is a no-brainer victory for SJ, aka Super Yumu. And obviously, you know, Nuke is another big factor that could change, or more so go either direction.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We could definitely see 3 maps today, but like you said, Mirage has to go in the favor of SJ. That 2-0 might actually be possible. x-kom, again, just while this knife round's going ahead, they've had some really troublesome weeks. Obviously, they brought in Neil Murphy as the coach.
Yeah.
Probably like 3-4 weeks ago, he's had some time with the team. Literally, like 2 weeks later, he's already out of the door. Said he didn't fit in with the team, and what they. Obviously, it's going to be very hard coming into a Polish squad as an Englishman, or Irishman in that case. And obviously, his input was during tactical timeouts and somewhat mid-round calls and mid-round reactions to show the team how he was feeling. But again, it shows that x-kom might be more prudent to ride alone. Oscarish has proven himself to be quite the decent in-game leader if he was here.
Yeah.
So that's maybe one thing that x-kom had to consider, of course. But without that, again, that's going to be vital. I kind of wanted to see Overpass and if, you know, from x-kom, because that is a map where mono in-game leads. That means Oscarish doesn't have to be present for x-kom to be at their strongest. But the reasoning behind that was that both Raver and MHL do not play Overpass, hence why it was banned first. So that's kind of a yin and yang type of Catch-22 type scenario, but
I would argue here, forgive me for interrupting you, I would argue they would need it to pick Overpass in that case, because it would be a smart choice. But in any case, we digress. It's going to be a bit of an A play and an A push as Kieran does get himself the first entry. Stomp is down, and x-kom start off with a man, well, with a man loss, you could say. SJ already going into after plant positions. They've got a very nice dug-in spot where it's going to be hard to break them, and we do see 3 players through CT. Zarty, he's on first box, and he's waiting his chance. As Mono's taking fire from Triple, it's going to be Mono for a second, but Zarty and Arvid able to clean house. Back to a 1-on-3 as Mono is left to deal with the mess on his own, and unfortunately an ace clutch is not going to come through. And yeah, pistol goes to SJ. Yeah,
and a great setup, like you said, especially when you know that typically in an A-site pistol retake, most players are going to be coming from that CT position. You can just set yourselves up inside a jungle, close stairs, make it so much easier for yourself. And even Zarty playing close to that first box can get dangerous, but handled very well with the support by Palace. So yeah, an all-round great pistol from SJ to start things off. And x-kom, they'll go for an eco in round number 2. Make sure they have money to be able to invest further into round number 3, but SJ at this point, they'll just be able to farm some extra cash, get themselves essentially a free round in this type of the new meta, where we see very little coming from the second round, and a simple cleanup all is at hand. Raver won't survive for too much longer, and with Mono left again with a 5-on-1 at hand, SJ will find themselves a second round and already start Mirage very successfully.
Yeah, this is pretty much best case scenario so far for SJ. Their enemy's pick, they're, well, I guess you could say they're a bit of kryptonite, as they only have, I think, 3 or 4 maps played. Therefore, you know, perhaps not much they can fall on if they get into dire times. But, you know, this is still open for interpretation, I guess we could say. As x-kom, I would like to see their gun round above all else. It's coming up right now, so you know, how will they perform, what they will do. Are they going to go into a default? Are they going to try and incorporate Raver and MHL to help them perhaps hold a few positions mid-take? I don't know. We're about to find out though, and well, x-kom, they've got themselves 4 AUGs and an M4A1S through to the CT side. It's going to be Raver, the only man, but this looks like a bit of a default 2-1-2 setup. And it does look like it exactly. Stomp, dangerously in window, trying to take a few pot shots. Not really going to do much. And Raver, he's being pulled back, or more so at least forced into a bit of a defensive spot at Forest. This is an advanced search party by Sadix, actually. This is going to be a B hit. SJ, here we go. It's going to be a play, and it's Sadix. Oh, what? He gets an entry in MHL. Stomp will deny 1 at least. It's still going to be Raver that loses to another Mech 10. Although Stomp this time, it's a triple for him, and that's enough.
I mean, it might, or at least it should be, with damage that has already been inflicted. And yeah, with Mono left to clean up, a simple round for x-kom. Very, very nice holds with the AUG. Again, Sadix, not sure how he really made it out there in that type of position, but it was still held pretty well by x-kom to make sure that no further damage was done. And yeah, Stomp making sure the job got done there. So a first round for x-kom, and a great one to kick it off. They wanted to get that first gun round to make sure they stabilize their confidence, to get themselves put into the game early, to make sure that SJ don't run away with rounds. Because the worst thing that, as you're already weakened by your lack of core members, by having stand-ins, you don't want to be losing consecutive rounds on a map that is your pick. And at this point, x-kom, they have managed to prevent that. Still, it's the 4th round coming up, and with SJ back onto a full buy, kind of crucial that x-kom do find victory in this one to make sure that SJ do not hit them somewhat with a smaller reset than what we used to see in the meta. But already Kern, he'll find an opening frag onto Raver. Yampi, he shuts down Stomp as well, and this is already working out in that SJ favor. Yedgar has no idea where Yampi is for now, but is just holding and waiting. Yeah, beautiful flash to get him in position.
I'm not sure if x-kom will protect this. It's all eyes on Mono. He's going to have to clear the angle, and if he walks into the AK crossfire, he's as good as gone. Yampi, here we go. He's ready. There's a free kill. That's 1. That's enough. Now back to a 2-on-4, as he will be refragged, but Zarty's out peeking from pit already. And MHL is left to his own demand, or more so own devices. Unfortunately for him, the only device is a bullet to the head that he's going to be receiving. 3-1, and SJ, a tactical victory, I guess you could say, a tactical bit of a reset. x-kom, they sure do have 1,900 loss bonus, but it's not really going to be helping them too much, because we have to consider that the CT side requires so much more money still to buy. They can't really afford to lose rounds like that. They win 1, they put themselves back onto starting loss bonus, and they lose it immediately after with almost 0 money left. So this is a little bit shaky. 3-1 and a full eco for x-kom. Looks like we might be seeing a pretty early lead, almost a very distinct lead early on from SJ.
And it definitely should be looking that way at this point. with USPs on the field. This should definitely be a 4th round going to that SJ side already. Yampy, he's looking for some early interactions, already able to close out Stomp. Good damage done, actually, but Sadix finally to finish with a nade. Yampy even looking for more. Raver will at least come away with 1. Might even have a chance at a 2nd, as well as Arvid down to incredibly low HP, but Sadix, he'll deal with that and make sure Yedka cannot survive. And 4-1, a great start for SJ so far. The 2nd gun round for x-kom, it's going to be massively important for them to take this. And just to make sure that they can keep themselves in the game, because without winning this round, that's going to put SJ at least on 6 or 7 rounds, which is definitely going to be one of the more dangerous aspects of an opening map, especially with all the factors that we've already brought in. But I'm liking that we do see an AWP, although with Stomp being the primary AWPer, it is in the hands of Raven, which is kind of
weird.
Yeah, not what I'd want. We've seen Stomp go monstrous in the past few games, and especially last season in Season 1.
I think it's fair to say that he was one of the primary reasons x-kom got as far as they did, or at least had gotten into a position where they were actually contending for the top 4. But the scary thought for me is, as you mentioned, x-kom do have a full buy, but this full buy is very much reliant on their victory. They lose here and they're back to starting positions. They do receive loss bonus at, I believe, 2.9k. So, you know, they are going to be back to a single eco left. But that's, again, SJ, you know, potentially taking 1 more round afterwards. This is very scary for the CTs, and the early entry will help x-kom quite a lot. We'll see if they can keep it up, though, and can they keep the flow, or more so the structure of their gameplay working. So far, it looks like heavy presence towards mid and A itself, as x-kom is awaiting some sort of an A execute. But SJ looking and switching their sights towards B. This could be their fatal flaw, though. Raver, as you said, he's got an op there, Stomp supporting it. And this could get tricky and actually quite messy.
Position that Raver's taken right now is going to be definitely able to catch off a couple of these SJ players, especially the flashbang doesn't land in that type of position, but still misses the first shot. Luckily, Stomp able to cover for him, though. It seems like he's having to guide these players, the younger talents at least, to be able to keep them in the game. But Yedkari denies the plant at least, but is there time? They do manage to retrieve the bomb, but I don't think there's enough time to put it down. They might have just caught it, though. Oh, and there is perfect time. MHL finds 1, but at Yampy, he is able to deny by the skin of his teeth. Comes out with 12 points of health. But SJ do take the round.
Oh, man, that is painful to watch. Oh, that is so unfortunate for, of course, x-kom. And I would blame a little bit here on Raver. He needs to hit that first shot. He needs to hit his early shot, because if he denies the first player coming out of house, then he buys enough time for Stomp to react well enough and set himself up well enough against the push. But unfortunately, I think the roles should have been switched. I mean, Stomp, give him the AK, guys. I mean, what are you even thinking? Let Stomp play the op, not Raver. But I mean, we'll see. Maybe Raver proves us wrong. But so far, it was a crucial error. What I said, you know, the loss is there, but the money is not. It's gonna be, of course, pistols, Kevlas, and x-kom are looking down a barrel of a smoking gun. 61, certainly a result there should be coming up pretty soon. Yetka spotted, and now he's as good as gone.
Again, with very little weaponry that x-kom can really utilize, it does make for somewhat of a less challenging round on the SJ camp, but still with, again, a lot of heavy presence shown toward that A bomb site. It does give SJ that route if they wanted to take it up toward that B bomb site, and it seems like MHL able to do some great damage. Flashbang will eventually suppress him, though. Can't even come away with a frag. Yampy does not fall. 4 points of health left, and he's been battered over these past couple of rounds, but still surviving as he takes another frag. Mono not given the light of day in this round, and with a 4-on-2, yes, they have an AK and Stomp, but that's already gone. As soon as I say it, it's out of the round, and Raver left into a 1 versus 4. Potentially a chance of him to get an exit kill, but yeah, 6-1 all but confirmed at this point, and SJ take quite the convincing lead in the first half already.
This is, I would dare say, this is looking way too easy. And even on pistol rounds, x-kom, you know, I understand you can't do much, and obviously that's logical. You have pistols, but you need to focus on trying to work as a team as much as you can. You know, try to deal a little bit of economy damage to SJ, or at least keep up the damage. We can see that currently the money is not that good for SJ. They're not really, you know, bathing in money as much as they should be when they're winning already 6 rounds, favorably so. Now, they do have 7k across the board, but imagine if they lose 1 or 2 more players last round. It's back to pretty much starting points, 2, 3k, and for the most part, and a few players having more than 5 or 6k. That's about it. You know, you kind of try and keep yourself relevant with economy. But here we go. Double up coming out, Stomp and MHL. An interesting switch. First Raven, now MHL, but Yetka's going to find an entry. That's perfect. And finally with Stomp on the up, I have hope for x-kom.
Seems like definitely they're playing more of a puggy style in this game to make sure they get the job done. I mean, there's definitely no fault in it. If you're already weakened, why not just change your style completely and try and catch SJ off guard? And at this point, it seems to already be working. Yedka able to find the initial frag. They should at least realize, once they hit the A bomb site, that x-kom are putting a lot of heavy presence there. It might take a round loss to be able to realize that, but that can then make sure that SJ, they can craft their ways to make sure that they only head toward that B bomb site, focus on mid presence, really have x-kom split across the map, make sure the map control is there for that T side, and already they're beginning to head out toward that Tetris position. Exati carrying the bomb, and especially with a solo Endeavor, his further teammate behind the smoke, he does have to be quite careful. Arvid is able to wrap inside of Connector. Yedka will spot him if he approaches towards stairs. Mono should have somewhat of a position as well, and is already Exati able to catch a first. Arvid takes one more, and MHL finally able to refrag, but they know of his position already. Stomp, he's looking for 1, they deliver with 2. And with Sadix left into a 1 versus 3, this might just work out perfectly. Although he is still hunting, MHL should surely be dead to rights here. There is no room for maneuver. And yes, he will at least find 1, but with no time left, it might just be prudent to save that AWP. But he is looking for it, though.
Oh, that is so close. Whew. Man, that was uncomfortable to watch, almost. A 1-on-1, 10 seconds... Oh, bad flashbacks. In any case, as you said, it was a close call. Luckily, it's MHL and Stomp that deliver with their shots that connect and are able to save the round for x-kom. But it's not really saved yet if you look at the long con, if you look at the longer story. Ooh, connector Molotov, MHL gonna burn 44 HP. That is a big chunk of health out of his overall position, and perhaps best to switch out with Stomp at this point. You know, give him the op, try and make him the man that's gonna hit your shot. But it's gonna be Mono, close connector with the MP9. Unfortunately, the only kill he gets is KRN, and it's gonna be Zarty out of pit, and it's all starting to collapse down on x-kom yet again. Stomp, the auto shotgun is in his hands, and the fate of x-kom perhaps even. MHL blinded out in CT, can't really go anywhere. Nobody peeking. Oh, big mistake. They do lose 1, and MHL missing a shot. Perhaps an opportunity that will not present itself again. MHL, excuse me, Raver actually, free kill. That will be enough. 2v2, 1 minute left, and that nade. Close call.
Ooh. Okay. Just replies with one of his own, though. Zati dead and down to a 1 versus 2 with Yampion to an AWP. Surely has to try and at least switch to a rifle at this point, but can't expect the final 2 players to be toward the CT spawn together. They will begin to move up as that bomb is planted. Yampi has to be so careful with how he orientates himself, but that is so smart. Gets himself toward ramp, and Raver, he has been spotted, takes the first kill, and MHL, he's lined up as well.
Both same position.
You can see the sort of amateurness in how these guys are operating. Of course, 17 years of age, you can't rip into them too heavily, of course. But again, it is a vital mistake. And it gives SJ already a reset down to that CT side. Whatever that x-kom team do, SJ just do better at this point and put themselves at least a round away from getting that first half with minimum rounds required. And pistols, again, in the hands of x-kom. It seems like we've seen more pistol rounds in this first map than we have guns for that CT side. And that is not a business model for victory.
No, it's not, and it's not going to bring them very far as well. SJ currently, I mean, they are looking absolutely on fire. This is what you would expect out of the Finns, and I guess we both said it at the start. We kind of agreed on this, basically, that, you know, x-kom having 2 replacements, and I wouldn't say anything if it were perhaps Yetker or you know, Stomp even, or maybe Mono that wouldn't be playing. But I think losing Goofy the entry and losing Oscar the IGL, that's such a big blow to the team itself when they're playing. It just might not be repairable with any sort of stand-in you might throw in. Perhaps Mono has taken the lead here in this case, you know, taking the IGL role, as I would expect him to, given that he IGLs at least on a single map. So, you know, that would give him some sort of proficiency to be able to do it here. But it is going to be 8-2 very soon. A very slow round from SJ. They're playing so carefully, it shows, and they're ready for pretty much any contingency. And Zarty cleaning house, making sure nobody can really do anything at all. And x-kom, they might get a kill actually. Stomp is tucked away on the balcony, but just as I say that, they clear him out. SJ, it shows that they prepared. It shows that they need and more so want this victory.
Thing is as well, x-kom SJ have took some hard defeats in the past couple of matches. Despite this being a blunder for x-kom, it's going to be a great confidence boost for SJ. Yes, you're playing against a significantly weakened side, as we've already explained, but especially to take such a dominant fashion, it's just good for that confidence. And of course, with this being a Swiss system, there are many opportunities to be able to find victory. There's many opportunities to even get to those playoffs. If you go to all 5 rounds, then you have, you know, 5 best of 3s to be able to qualify. And they're obviously going to take a free win against this side. Like, yeah, it's not the best of scenario for x-kom, but SJ aren't going to sit back and think, oh, we've got to respect these guys because they've got, you know, two of their lesser players. They're going to take this as an opportunity. Because they did lose that first round, to get themselves 1 back on the board and be able to, you know, stabilize for the further rounds. And with this A-bomb site hit coming through, Edgar's position not spotted. That is vital. And as he takes himself a 3K, you can surely say goodbye to this round here, SJ. Vital mistake and not checking that position already. Edgar looking for more. An ace potentially on the cards, and x-kom, they do get themselves a little bit of a victory lap here in round number 11.
This is where I'd be chanting in team ace, 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 just for the fun of it, because you have to hype your players up when you're in a position like this. You're losing 6 rounds. You need to give energy to your players, to your friends, and to your co-stars. And as you said, right now, SJ are looking at this as a pretty much clear free victory, and we could easily say that this was a huge mistake, or more so blunder by SJ by not peeking under or above Palace. It is a crucial role. I don't think they mollowed even on the Palace, and nobody even checked when they got onto site. So that's pretty much a basic error that only a T player can commit to and not come through to, due to the fact that, simply put, x-kom, that wasn't a special position. That wasn't truly a position where, oh, you would say, yeah, that's a really outplayed, you know, something. No, it's a standard spot you always have to check, simply put. So luckily x-kom get away with it, but I doubt there will be a second time for it. Sadek's already down B. It's Raver to hit the shot finally, but he might be missing a few players. Key players actually misses the shot. That's it. That's enough. It's KRN and Yampi both to respond. And it's already a 4-on-3. Make it a 3-on-3 at least. MHL able to connect with 1. Through short, somehow he gets an angle on the player in Forest. But, oh, KRN, 35. And, oh, nade as well. Yetker shutting it down. 2v3. Can they win this? Well, SJ. Oh, Yampi. He's so accurate. He's so well-timed as well. And MHL and AWP. And they could actually kill Yampi. That could work. But he's tucked away behind the corner. And the round is as good as gone, I think it's safe to say. There is a smoke, actually, so MHL perhaps if he turns this one around and Ninja defuses, but I doubt it.
Ooh, there is potentially that opportunity. He will try and get on the bomb at least. Okay, there we go. Excited to finish. That was smart from SJ as well. Beautiful setup in the after plant to put 2 players in apartments. And yeah, 9-3. This is going to be quite the advantage scoreline for that SJ side. Yampi on 15 kills already, topping 100 ADR, and I think there's pretty positive stats across the entire SJ team at this point. I mean, why wouldn't there? But at this point, with a single round away from double figures in the first half, it is looking good for SJ. They do have, again, a double AWP setup, but MHL once more to burn in that Molotov. Overstaying his welcome. Yeah, 2 or 3 times now in that Molotov. It's not good, especially when you're heavily reliant on probably the most expensive rifle in the game. Still with 1:30 left on the clock, and x-kom, they'll set themselves up once more with so much A-site presence. I think SJ have now worked this out because they stay off of A so much in these types of rounds. They're backing off toward mid, making sure they have the control. and even having that player inside of the apartments as well to make sure that if they do want to head toward that B site, any chance of a flank from that CT side is not going to happen. And SJ, despite not having too much in this round yet, seem to have it very, very under control. And yeah, already Yampy finds himself a first, and that is not a good start for x-kom whatsoever. Yeah. But that's been the statement of their game so far here in map number 1.
Funny thing is, this actually, looks like a B split, whilst x-kom are not reading into it at all. MHL is lost, and, early damage, of course, coming back to bite him. But, I mean, x-kom, they should realize by now, guys, we might have gained a few rounds on A. Doesn't mean they're continuously going to pressure A. You have to take a few risks. You have to do a few changes. And I love the fact they're pushing pit, but it might be a little bit too late as Raven's already caught in force. That's it. One more player left on site to deal with this. And he's about to be shut down. No, Stomp catches one. It's Mono for the second. So far, it works out a little bit for x-kom, although on the second one for Mono. This is perfect. Now the... Oh, Sadix, though. Yeah, this is the flank that's going to win the round, though. Yeah, there's the kill. And unfortunately for Mono, he's caught between 2 players and no way out. Yetka coming through house. KRN, did he hear him?
Yeah.
Surely he has.
Even if he didn't, beautiful game sense to adjust. Yetka has got himself an AWP. Run for the hills, buddy. Please just take something into the next round that even looks some form of, better than what they've had. But SJ, again, it's another dominant performance, making sure, like you said, that B split not read by x-kom. As they were able to really take that site, not with a lot of ease. x-kom able to reply with some kills, but overall, it's not the frags that matter particularly. It's the rounds you put on the board, and right now, there's 10 of them for SJ. They've reached double figures. And once again, x-kom have been somewhat economically reset. They'll be down to maybe an eco to be able to full buy into the final round of the first half, with this being the penultimate. That would be the right choice to make. But already it gives either an 11 or 12 round differential or scoreline for SJ going into half number 2. And on a T side of Mirage, that's probably that's a very successful result.
Oh yeah, that's I mean, that's picture perfect. I always say this because it's pretty much true. Whatever rounds you get, or however many rounds you get, as long as it is above 9-10 rounds, you are doing very well on your side, and you should be proud of how well you played it. Obviously, the opponent can play badly, so there's perhaps one reason there that you got so many. But in this case, I would argue x-kom not playing as bad as SJ are playing so well. x-kom, they're still playing pretty decent given the fact they're missing 2 key members, and they're able to contend on quite a few rounds. They're able to fight, but I would dare say that's more so due to the personal performance and the personal quality of all of their remaining 3 guys. And Stomp in window, this could be dangerous though. Stomp.
Oh, Arvid.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
See, x-kom, they should have been locking out mid, or at least focusing on mid. Once you commit a player in window like that, you have to have some presence shown from connector or from the other side of window, so the enemies are focused rather on that point instead of, already checking corners for any sort of baits and such. And Yetka gonna be catching one, but it's Arvid for the return. Though Yetka with a double, but oh man, what an unlucky turn. 3 versus 1 in x-kom. This looks like a proper 12-3 result.
It really does, with Raver trapped inside of ladder room. He's just left to just sit and mull over the half and what has happened. And even x-kom, as they force into this round, it makes it so difficult. And surely a 12th is on the cards for SJ at this point. The thing is, it's a big hit for x-kom to be obviously losing 2 players, and it's definitely not great. I assume with the sort of strict schedule that these leagues have, there was no option to reschedule, which is kind of sad. But again, you've got to think, would this be the same kind of scenario if there were only 1 player out? Obviously, it's a really massive and unfortunate coincidence that both Oscarish and Goofy can't commit to this time or day. But you've got to think maybe the similar scoreline would be there if, if just Oscarish was out, because he's, of course, the in-game leader. If Goofy was out, because he's the main firepower of x-kom.
Yeah.
But again, it's not good either way, and 12-3 is surely a possibility at this point.
And I wouldn't just say a possibility, pretty much a reality. I mean, we've got no weapon on Mono besides a pistol, and 2 AUGs, a FAMAS, and M4, and a single defuse kit. Sure, a little bit of utility here and there, but so far, SJ, they've shown they're very much capable of defeating their opponents, even on full buy rounds, without much pressure, I guess, without much requirements. And it's starting to look pretty simple. SJ, T side goes well. all good, you know, they win the pistol and then they pretty much win the map afterwards. There's still going to be potential left for x-kom to win. Obviously, the pistol is going to be one of the key rounds for them, but again, this is a long way to go, and the Poles are going to have to bring something different to the overall map if they want to win this at all. And Stomp, he already takes a bit of a fight with KRN. Unfortunately, his spray is not true, and it will not connect. This certainly is not a good show right now, and a good tell, as it will diminish the capabilities that x-kom have. And yeah, 12-3, as you said, is coming up.
Thing is, as well, for these two guys that are coming into the team, obviously to stand in, probably their biggest opportunity as a type of proving ground for these two players. I think they played recently on HLTV in the GG League qualifier, but got wiped out, I think, like 16-5, 16-2 across 2 best-of-1. So there wasn't really too much to see from those guys. Again, Yedka finally position check, though. But again, you've got to realize how uncomfortable, obviously, these two stand-ins will feel with this kind of scenario. But again, you can really see that players like Stomp and Yedka are feeling uncomfortable as well, because, of course, they're missing the 2 main men from their team, and it just makes it so hard as obviously a tight of a unit as x-kom is. We know that they're one of the most team-oriented rosters. There's no real sort of ambition to promote a star player. They just come, they get the job done, and it's obviously going to be taking a toll on the core members, let alone the standings that they have. And yeah, 12-3 gets cleaned up. SJ seem to have quite the simple endeavor here on Mirage as we take that first half, and it's a sad one for x-kom. But again, you've got to highlight just how good and clinical that SJ have been. They've given no room for error for x-kom, and that really shows in the scoreline.
I think one thing people might not really appreciate is the fact that SJ has been around for now a very long time. And they had many roster changes. And I would say those roster changes, for the most part, were due to the fact that their players were so good. I mean, let's be honest about this for a second. Out of the I believe there's about 8 players that have been changed out in SJ, so Super Yumi previously. 1 had gone to Ents, that's Ariel, and the rest have gone to Havu, or at least 3 others have gone to Havu. That's 4 or 5 players that gone to a team that is currently, you know, one of the best teams in the world. Oh, we'll be right back.
LOOT.BET, made for live betting.
Welcome back. Now, we had a bit of a fast Adam actually didn't really notice, so apologize there. We apologize for that. But as I was saying, yeah, exactly, too busy in the deep thoughts. Basically, the point is, SJ, they have a very good track record behind them, and this current team has been together for quite a long time as well, and you would expect them to advance. And even when they started off, even when they were, you know, under great pressure and under great, I guess you could say, pressure, yeah, they did well. And let's see how this one goes. x-kom, they're going to be faking a take. There's 2 smokes deployed and 2 players out of pit, and they're already faking it very well. This might work. There's a single player left on A, but on B, but it's going to be Stomp, and yes, go with 2. This is perfect. And this might be enough to actually draw the last player from B to site. But no, Harvid actually this time denies the play. And ooh, this is it.
Oh,
Stomp.
this is good.
Oh, Sadix! Does he get him? Yes, he does. He denies it. 2v2, and he spots the 3rd player as well. This might just work out. Oh!
Sadix, what are you doing?
Oh, Lord.
Absolutely
and Stomp.
Monstrous.
Yes, it is. And this is just a disaster for x-kom. Such a well-executed fake, but in the end, it doesn't work out still.
Stomp already spotted as well. 50 seconds, and Kern already pinning him down. Sadix, you absolute mind-reading genius. He was the one that stayed on the site. I, of course, expected that of being called in the voice comms, of course, but that is so smart, especially the reposition. Slips left side of that pillar, denies the first, precision, the patience as well to make sure that he didn't choke in that kind of scenario. And SJ, that was a round for x-kom. That was almost confirmed. And SJ just say no. back down to 13-3, and such a grenade to kickstart the 17th round. This surely seems like it's going in the favor of SJ already. And Exati mows down a first and a second, does great damage to a third and fourth. Stomp has been able to slink himself out onto the A-bomb site, but not that it particularly matters at this point. He'll find himself a frag. That's all he should get out of this round. EMP got a P90, brilliant.
Yeah, when you see a P90, you know the team is taking this one, relaxed at this point. They're no longer concerned as much as they perhaps would have been otherwise. And this is starting to become a very clear and a very one-sided map. It's not looking good for x-kom at all. This is it. This is their last chance. They lose this. That's the map. That's map 1 gone. Their own map pick. And Train is up next, which we all know how good it is for SJ. And I don't think we need to say this, but Mirage was the only hope of x-kom to take this best of 3 series.
That's
honestly
the thing. Nail on the head there. This is the map that they had to win. This was the one that not only the core x-kom players have been accustomed to play on, they've had pretty decent results as a core 5. But it was, again, a map that they even picked to cater the 2 players that they brought into this side. They obviously, they flat out refused to play Overpass, as far as I could tell, that they weren't comfortably playing Overpass, and that's, fair enough. But, yeah, they even gave the 2 players stand-ins to a map that they're strong on, and still haven't been able to perform. And even right now, this situation does not bode well for x-kom. 2 players left into a 1 versus 2. Sadix has a grenade left to force out at least 1 player, and already he's trying to make his way inside of jungle. If Stomp dies, Rave left into a 1 versus 1, but luckily Stomp able to come out on top at a first round for x-kom on that T side.
Well, better late than never is what we can say, although it's a long way to go, and it's an even longer, I guess you could say, longer road to victory itself. But certainly, this is one way to kickstart your chances of going forward in this overall series. I'm hearing those... Okay, sound is back. Fair enough. Wait. Yeah, sound is back. Okay. For a second there, I was a little bit weirded out. Where's the sound? But to return back to the main point, we can see it's a full force buy from SJ. They invest everything into this, and why wouldn't they? 14-4, 10 rounds difference. They're doing absolutely brilliantly for themselves, and they shouldn't have much issue winning this map as long as they, keep composed and keep playing the way they did up to this point, which is team play, which is helping each other, support each other, and just make sure whatever they do it, efficiently. And we can see that x-kom is a little bit unlucky on mid. Missed the smoke even. That's certainly coming back to bite them perhaps if somebody peeks window. Oh, there. Oh, okay. What? He was in the smoke.
Yeah.
How that's possible?
This is a great read from Stomp, apparently, as he takes out the first man. Ooh, Yampi was spraying down, but doesn't have an opportunity to shine. He had already finishing him off. Sadix, the man that can really try and impact, is already tagged down. He's the only man with a rifle left, and this should be a 5th round for the T side. Like you said, with 14-4, why wouldn't you force up? At this point, you have plenty of rounds to be able to come back with, to be able to make sure you get that job done. You can even, have the chance, if you were to force buy and win, take it much quicker than expected. But 5 rounds for x-kom here on that T side, and Sadix will go to save the AUG, but an eco on the cards for the CT side in this next coming round. Not that they'll be too fussed about it. They'll make sure that they get them the right amount of money to be able to purchase, and they'll move on to that next round. But it still gives a chance for x-kom to regain a little bit of their confidence, not even in this map, but just for going on to map number 2, because they need God on their side for game number 2. On Train, SJ's, notable pick that they like to take in best of 3s. x-kom, yes, have played it, but SJ, it is that home map for them, which is definitely going to be a scary prospect going into game 2.
Absolutely. I'm actually more surprised we haven't seen a single pause coming out of x-kom.
True, yeah.
I mean, you're losing 12-3 or 11-4 on the half. Why are you not taking a pause? And yeah, sure, you might not have your primary IGL, but you certainly have something to talk about, right? Certainly you communicate and, try to discuss problems and solutions. So I understand perhaps there's less desire for a pause and such, but I mean, you should always take that pause no matter what position you're in. At least give yourself a chance to discuss something and you perhaps might solve it. But it's going to be MHL that finds the entry this time. It's an eco coming out from SJ, so it shouldn't be an issue here to win. And Sadix following, the only man with a buy as well. That's pretty much, or should be pretty much, the end of the round. But, I mean, it's open for interpretation for the second, or for the moment itself, as... Well, Karen and Jumpy, while they are alive, I'm not going to disregard them completely yet.
Zeus in the hand of Yampy. Even though he hears those footsteps, it will be dangerous to get a kill, but he at least takes a first. Oh, even Yedka luckily managing to round the corner quicker than Yampy could. Kern tries to spray, but that aim punch is going to affect. And a 6th round for x-kom, so at least able to find themselves a further round. Did lose a couple of players, of course, but it's nothing too crazy. They can, of course, get that money back from bomb plant, from round wins, and it's not too much of an issue. But yeah, 14-6. SJ now going in to their buy round. They have quite an actual weaker buy than I would have thought, especially with seeing Zati down to a FAMAS, but of course, they'll go for a buy, especially when the rest of the team can. But this time, yeah, Sadix already inside of Connect to some heavy pressure, and Yampy able to deliver with a first. That leaves Sadix super safe to go for a peek, because they should never expect a second man. Doesn't matter though, as he is able to at least trade back. Damage done to Stomp, but he has an AWP, nothing to particularly worry about. Kern is tagged as well, same for Yampy, but it's nothing that would really cause any kind of worry. Still, Zati inside of the smoke. MHL might get caught off, and look at Arvid. He's stretching all the way through that B apartments. He's out to T-spawn. He'll spot the bomb very soon, but Stomp is potentially aware
he's ready
of
for
it.
this.
Oh, and he definitely is. That's beautiful info.
Yeah, that's what saves them actually here. Without that kill, without that spot, it's pretty much done for x-kom. They not only lose the Stomp, but they lose the bomb control as well. Luckily, Mr. Stomp is pushing towards B quite fast. MHL denies one. Do they expect Zarty? No, they don't. Doesn't matter. They still get him in the end. And Zarty, huge mistake. He doesn't get the kill. That was his attempt, his round. And unfortunately, it's going to be the other way around at this point, as we do have quite the slowdown and quite the change of pace coming up from from SJ. Certainly looking like they might have gotten caught in the wind, and this could actually turn to be still yet an opening for x-kom. As I said, not yet done until it's done, but obviously chances are this goes down quickly still.
Yeah, like you said, it's not over till that 16th round is put on the board, and right now Kern, he will just go for the safe. We'll make sure that at least they have a rifle for the next round, but still, getting to that kind of scenario now where it's not out of the realm of possibility for x-kom to be able to grind these rounds back, at least try and push for those double figures, potentially even more, and just try and force SJ into more of an uncomfortable position, just gain a little bit of momentum, put some confidence back in your already weakened side on that x-kom camp, and just be able to go into map 2 at least knowing that you at least made SJ work for those rounds to close out the game. But again, it's going to be another eco for that CT side. Finally, in the next buy round, though, we should see quite the plentiful purchase, hopefully an AWP, but again, they have forced into pistols and Kevlar, which will bring them down to around $2,000, but still, we'll have a buy in the next. 14-8, most likely on the cards, unless that rifle of Kern goes absolutely insane. And with x-kom stacking up toward that A bomb site, it might just be a possibility, especially with how they're going to funnel through Palace, and Kern is positioned quite effectively here.
Yeah, this could work out. KRN, he baits the shot, or more so baits the presence. Now 2 players holding the site itself. Sadix, already not getting much, but it's going to be Zarty on the other hand that hits one, goes for the pop take, or more so the pot shot as well, does only do a bit of damage while losing 2 players already, or his teammates I should say. This should be an end, although Harvard, Harvard and Zarty, what? Look at them, mono now, no chance.
Oh my god.
Holy smokes, that should never have happened. That is not the way that it should have turned around, and this is starting to get a little bit concerning and out of hand. Oh my. How do you lose against 2 pistols? You already know they're there. Oh my, that is concerning.
The worst part about that round is the rifle did 24 points of damage. It wasn't even needed. They got the job done with pistols, and that is the worst part for x-kom, because right now, already Raver is trying to head inside of mid. He's being forced back behind the smoke, and the mid take already called off, but Raver says no. Turns around, at least takes out Zarty in the process. And well, with 4 players deep inside of mid, this does now start to make x-kom really try and get some map progression. Still good damage done. Yedka and Rave are both tagged, and a beautiful nade to land at the feet of Kern. Molotov to return. But even so, this is good opening. Yedka burns alive. And good utility usage so far from SJ. 4 versus 4 as we're traded back. And still plenty of time on the clock. Yampy, he's going to go aggro in apartments. This could work out in his favor. The bomb is making its way through those B apartments, but still not decided as of yet. There is still room for maneuver. Could dip through underpass, but Yampy is so prepared for this.
Oh, yes, he is. I mean, you can see that right now. The first man to peek will die, and Yampy will jump down, get himself into a safer spot. Although this still leaves him vulnerable to quite a few weird angles to fight from. But it shouldn't be too much of a nuisance as long as he hits the first... Oh, the timing!
Oh, timing!
Oh, Lord. Now if he peeks, he's as good as gone. And, ooh, I think... Yeah, he certainly spots one. And, oh, what? He's fully blinded out. He gets the shot. It's Arvid to the short second for Yampy. And that's the game. That's the... Excuse me, that's the round. Oh, my God. What the bloody hell was that, though?
Wow.
Oh, my Lord. Yampy. What a shot to make.
Fully blind.
Yep.
And gets himself such a good shot. That is a way to end a match, yeah.